child's play compared to the power of the gods. That chapter is Zamesu.
Hello everyone and welcome to my build guide on the build that I'm playing, which is Absolution. This is the build that I league started with, and when I first started the league I was thinking, man, I'm gonna go glorious skeletons. Mage skeletons was the dream build that I was gonna go. And I was gonna go into arakali. But you know what? Things change. I started using Absolution and I started to think, how can we make Absolution better? Everywhere I looked, people were saying, oh, Absolution is still pretty good for League Starter, but without the Scourge mechanics, you can't get maximum lightning resistance to the negative. So I started digging and I found the items that could enable this. So I started my journey. I stayed with the build Absolution all this time, and I was like, I'm just gonna max out Absolution as best as I can, and use this build furthermore, and for the majority part of the league, and see what I can do with it. Now, what I have found with this build is that it is incredibly tanky with some cool mechanics and the use of the new Dawnbreaker shield. A lot of people are dropping this shield. You'll watch streams, they'll drop it and they'll say, oh, this shield is crap. And they'll sell it to the vendor. They'll say 1C item, right? This shield is actually really good. And people are not realizing how strong this shield is. So I think things will change after I show what it can do. So with this shield, what it does is it changes cold, lightning, and physical damage to be taken as fire, which increases your damage mitigation by a lot. This gives you a lot of EHP, and it allows you to tank a lot of elemental damage very easily, and it also helps you to survive big physical hits as well. In the videos, I will showcase I'm able to take hits from the Shaper, Shaper slams, Minotaur slams. A lot of the attacks that I can't take so far that I've tested is the Shaper Beam that kills me, and certain kinds of attacks from the new bosses that are meant to one-shot you, like those the fireballs where you have to dodge the little balls coming at you from both sides, kind of like I forgot what those games are called, bullet hell games, where you have to dodge out the little things coming at you. So that kind of phase, you can't really mitigate all that damage if you get hit too many times. And the next thing is with the other boss, the Eater of Worlds boss. He does a super slam attack that you have to dodge that mechanic because it just kills you no matter what. But in regards to everything else, his attacks, the tentacles, all the elemental nonsense, the poison, chaos damage doesn't really affect you as much. And yeah, this is why. So we have a maximum of 81% chaos resistance, and we are utilizing Divine Flesh. All damage taken bypasses his energy shield. 50% of damage taken is taken as chaos damage. So that's great. That negates a lot of that damage. And then also with the shield, you're taking care of a lot of the other elemental damage as well. This gives you huge amounts of EHP and the ability to take huge hits. And in my POB, my EHP was currently at 369,000 with effective maximum hit taken as 14,000. And that's with Flask Up and Bone Offering. But you only need Bone Offering. Bone Offering gets my chance to block to 73, chance to block spell to 67. And of course, with more levels, with a few more levels, I could get that maxed out and capped out without having to use roomies. And my roomies is not even that good. It's just a cheap roomies that I bought. Again, this build didn't cost me a lot of currency to build, and it can pretty much do, all of the content that I've done so far. It's excellent for farming and bossing. The way that I farm, I use Lightning Wart for my travel skill, and you swap in your increased area of effect for mapping. It just makes things a little bit more smoother, but you don't have to do it. To be honest, with the Absolution, the damage is already really crazy. It's already kind of an AoE attack itself, and your minions just mow through everything quickly. So I'll show you guys how it looks with the area of effect just on mapping. And I think I've explained everything. Oh yeah, don't forget the Melding of Flesh is the new jewel that helps you to get to minus 200% lightning resistance. And it also allows you to get your maximum elemental resistance, you only have to focus on one. Like I focus on the chaos, get the chaos and the maximum chaos, and use purity of fire, or you could use purity of ice if you want it. I chose fire. Well, no, you can't use purity of ice. What am I? I'm sorry, can't use purity of ice because this is meant for this. You want fire to be the highest for this, as high as possible. And yeah, I guess you could use purity of ice because it doesn't matter. Whatever your highest resistance, I would just say whatever resistance that you're having trouble with, use that purity form of it, so that you can get it up. Because mainly you need to cap out your chaos resistance. That's really important for this build if you want to be as tanky as I'm showing in the video. That's the most important thing. But on all three of these these are your most important pieces. So you'll get as much fire and cold resistance as possible. Movement speed, and you want an open socket or an open crafting spot for cold and chaos resistance. And that is must have. You want to get as much life as possible on those. Next, you'll need the Malachite Artifice rings. This gives you 118 fire resistance when socketed with a red gem, and then the other one is with a green gem. You get cold resistance, and it also gives you an extra minus 23 to all elemental. This helps us get to the minus 200. And of course, you'll need to use some catalyst on these rings to help you to get to minus 200. On this one, I have 18%, and this one 10, and that gets me to minus 200. Combined with the Melding of Flesh. And a Thread of Hope. You'll need to get a minus 20 Thread of Hope. I used a very large ring for the Thread of Hope so that I can get Ravenous Horde and Indomitable Army for my minions. And this is mainly for my Spectres, AG, and Zombies, so they don't die. And this is also that they don't die in the boss scene because I'm really strong. But I want my minions to survive as well because they're very important. You could probably re-roll this to try to get these little nodes, you know, to be helpful for you. But other than that, that is the build basically. Most important things is the Melding of Flesh, Thread of Hope, you know, your belt, your boots, your rings. You have to use these rings if you want to hit minus 200. I'm not sure of any other way to hit minus 200 without all three of these items, or four of these items. If you want to max it out. And for the gloves, you can get these pretty easily from farming. I found these on the ground, and I just crafted these with the Essence of Fear, and made these gloves. And you can just get fire or cold resistance or whatever you need on these gloves, dexterity, whatever roll you need to get your build running, you know, you just get those. Another thing that's really important is Ashes of Stars. This gives you more reservation for RS, and it also gives plus 26 quality to all skill gems, which is really big for Absolution, because Absolution's quality increases the damage. Minions dealing 46% increased damage, which is incredible. And then of course you use the Defiring Diadem. This is for, you know, you get some more resistance and chaos resistance as well. This further helps you to max out your chaos resistance. And you get Feast of the Flesh to recover life. You're using Eldritch Battery, which helps you to keep casting Absolution as much as you want. As you can see, you can cast as much as you want. A lot of people, like when I first started this build in the early game, casting was a little troublesome because you didn't have a lot of cast speed. and of course, you know, the cost of it was pretty expensive. So I would say this is a must-have for the build. You definitely need this. So you need the helmet, you need the shield, you need the amulet. This can be 5 link. I use the 5 link for the majority of the time. I 6 linked this myself, and I spent about 2 exalts, 2 6 link. So I bought fusings, and of course I used fusings that I picked up. So I probably spent about 3 to 4 exalt worth of fusings to make this myself. Which is still cheaper than just buying it, because apparently other builds use this chest piece, and yeah, they're like 9 to 10x, so it's pretty expensive. But for the most part, everything I bought early in the league because I decided I was going to try Absolution. So these were all cheap to start off. You know, the Malachi's Artifice. Doryani's was cheap. I bought this for 90C, and then I just 5 linked it. This is probably the most expensive purchase that I did. This cost like 2x, and at the time, you know, that was all I had. So yeah, that was the most expensive purchase that I made for the build. I bought this for like 80C, 60 to 80C. It was really cheap. I guess people didn't think it was any good, and then once streamers started to use this, the price went up. But I started using it early on because I just thought it was really good. I mean, you get all skill gems +1, +20 quality for Absolution. And as soon as I saw the damage, I was like, yeah, this is really good. So I just started using it. And I think that's everything for the build. Oh yeah, and you use Forbidden Taste. 25% maximum life. This doesn't even affect you, but it recovers a lot of life. So this prevents you from getting, like if you get a big hit on you, you also get some spell suppression, and it recovers all of your life to full if you get savage hit. Oh, and another mechanic that we use is Divine Blessing. This gets us an extra aura, which we use for Wrath. The main reason we use it for Wrath is because Wrath is a damage effect, and it's not really needed for mapping, but it's really smooth. You know, you can press it as many times as you want. It won't, like March of the Legion, it won't accidentally turn off, and it's just a damage boost. So you only need to make sure that it's up when you're bossing, and you can use it when you're mapping as well. It just helps to trigger your spells and your weapon much easier. And I like Lightning Warp for the travel skill. Pretty cool skill. And I think that's it. Got precision here. Defiance banner. We got a lot of armor. 12k, 14k, and then our flask gets us up pretty high with our bone offering. Overall, I think the build is pretty solid. Do I got everything on? Yep. Defiance, there we go. And the armor helps us with this, with our lightning damage, because it's taken from our armor instead of our lightning resistance. Alright, I think that's everything. We got Tempest Shield, Termination, Zealotry, Precision, and Wrath. And for my AG, I just have a cheap AG. I guess the most expensive thing he's wearing is the Kingsmaker. The boots is actually the new boots, the Grasping Vine boots. Where did I put those? Oh yeah, I put them here. Inextricable Fate. This is what I use on my AG. You get some chaos resistance and some life and some slow effect on the enemies. And it says if they're poisoned, you take 48% reduced extra damage from critical strikes. Pretty cool. Helps them to survive, I guess. Probably some other better boots you could put on them for extra cursing, but I don't need elemental weakness. I don't need conductivity. I guess the only other curse I would probably try to get for AG would be to slow down the enemies. I forgot what it's called. I have to look. Oh my gosh. Temporal chains, right? Yeah. So this is probably the only thing I would get if I was trying to get the extra curse AG style. Temporal chains for extra tanky. Like you, if the enemies are attacking super slow, that'll give you even more, tank survivability. But other than that, I think everything's good. I love the build.